Hello, Phoenix here. Welcome to Let's Play Star Wars Battlefront 2, Part 2. We're at Kashyyyk.
When we arrived on Kashyyyk, things were just as bad as we feared. The droids had us outgunned, outmaneuvered, and outmanned by a 5-to-1 margin. What none of us had counted on was the Wookiees. We'd all heard the stories, of course, but we'd never fought next to them. Never seen them rip apart a droid with their bare hands. They were magnificent. Even so, it was still a suicide mission. At least it was until Master Yoda arrived. Then it became a battle. A winnable battle.
Kashyyyk in this game is a lot more accurate to how Kashyyyk was in Star Wars Episode 3. This game came out after Star Wars Episode 3, so of course it's going to be more accurate to Kashyyyk. We did see Kashyyyk in Battlefront 1, but it didn't look much like the Kashyyyk we know of. This Kashyyyk looks a lot more like Omaha Beach. I think that's the design they were going for, so we captured that command post and now we must defend it using this tank that we have. I think it's the same kind of tank we used in that Star Wars Clone Wars game on the Xbox, PS2, and GameCube. I think it was on those systems. I have the Xbox version, which oddly enough comes bundled on the same disc as Tetris Worlds, which is a very odd combination. So here we are at Omaha Beach, Kashyyyk. This place looks, again, very accurate to how it was in the movie. I was really impressed with the visuals of Kashyyyk. I remember Star Wars Episode 3 was one of the first movies I owned on DVD, simply because it was the first Star Wars movie that never got a release on VHS. I didn't even have a DVD player yet in 2005 when the movie came out on DVD. I saw it in my mom's friend's basement. It was just like watching it at the movie theater. It was a big plasma screen TV, and it was on DVD, which was the best way to watch a movie at home at the time. I still think watching movies on DVD is probably the best way to watch things a lot of the time. It was just like watching it at the theater. I was impressed with the visuals, and shortly after that, I got my first ever DVD player. It was a Dell Dimension 9150 that was running Windows XP, and I would watch a Star Wars Episode 3 DVD on it all the time. It looked impressive on that thing. And then, of course, I got a real DVD player that actually connected to a TV months later, and then I mostly forgot that I had a computer that had a DVD drive, and then I soon forgot I had a disk drive at all, since I rarely ever use it much anymore, because I still have that old computer, but I mostly use it for backing up data. I was just using it earlier today to back up a lot of art and stories and things I've acquired while I was in Australia for the past year. And now I'm back home. I'm far away from the nightmare that is Australia, only for me to go into a different kind of nightmare. A commentary nightmare, where I sit here and record commentary for games. Recording commentary can be a nightmare a lot of times. This whole LP was pretty much a big nightmare. I thought this was going to be easy. The game decided to play hard on me, play the challenging version on me. At least the game's giving me a challenge. This game is not usually challenging, but sometimes it can be quite challenging, which it is right now. Wonder if the AI finally got smart or something like that. Or maybe it's my emulator, but then again, I was playing this on the real system. And I still never figured out how to get this game to run on my fat PS2. I made a video 4 years ago showing what happens when I play it in the fat PS2. And I've never solved the mystery of it since then. It's still a mystery. It's still a mystery. It's still an unsolved mystery that's, never been solved before. And I still don't know why it wouldn't work on my fat PS2. Thankfully, I have a slim PS2 that still runs this game. So, yeah, I played it on that. Well, I had to play some of it on that because the emulator does. This emulator does crash eventually to a point where it makes the game unwinnable, so I'm going to have to switch to the real system. Yeah, it's a very rare thing where you see me play a game on an actual system, not an emulator. Emulators dominate everything in the gaming industry, at least for classic gaming. That is, and I consider this to be classic gaming. A lot of people disagree that this is classic gaming. Then again, this game came out 18 years ago. It came out in late 2005. That was 18 years ago. I remember 10 years ago or more than that, I considered games that were less than 18 years old to be classics. I remember in 2010, I'd consider games that came out in 1999 to be vintage classics. So it only makes sense that this would be considered a classic. This game is older now than the original Ape Escape was in 2010, and I considered it a classic then. So now we're going to the most abysmal part of the entire level. We have to defend an oil refinery. I guess the Separatists want our oil because it's really valuable. I guess Kashyyyk must be a big oil distributor. And the real culprit behind this attack, the real person we should thank for why we're here right now, is Ki-Adi-Mundi. If Ki-Adi-Mundi never said his redundant dialogue, what about the droid attack on the Wookiees? We would never be here right now. So yeah, Ki-Adi-Mundi's the reason why we're in this war, this battle right now, on Omaha Beach, Kashyyyk. where the droids are attacking the Wookiees, and we're not getting much help and support from the Wookiees because the Wookiees are lazy. They don't really have any jobs or anything like that, so they're pretty much lazy. We have the armored tank droids attacking us, and the Separatist forces just keep bombarding us with their troops. The Separatists seem to have an infinite supply of battle droids, and we have a very limited amount of clone troopers, about as much as the Rebel Alliance had of troops in the days of the Rebellion, or at least that's how it seemed like in the movies. I was just watching Rogue One recently. It's a pretty good movie. I just got a DVD of it not too long ago. There's a lot of other DVDs. Those DVDs are becoming very cheap these days, and I love DVDs still, so I guess that's a major win for me, so I got more movies on DVD. It's always best to have movies on DVD. I think it's bad that a lot of people rely on streaming services for things these days, because what if your internet goes out, or if the internet's down? I deal with internet outages all the time. The internet goes out all the time. So does the power, and a lot of other things go down around me. Some people might think I live in the Dark Ages. I bet in centuries from now, they probably would consider this current era in history to be the Dark Ages. I think Generation Alpha might have something to do with that too. That's a generation of kids that rely on iPads, and they're addicted to their iPads, and they stare at them to a point where they think anything on a screen is considered entertaining. And like that time last year where I was at a Hungry Jack's restaurant, and two little girls started staring at my screen because I was busy working on my novel, and apparently my novel was considered very interesting to them. It was the Man-Child novel, that novel I'm writing about Chris Chan and his antics. So it got destroyed. Someone destroyed that huge, what do you call it, droid tank thing. Got destroyed. There's another one coming out, the armored tank droid. It's called an armored tank droid because it's not supposed to be something that can easily be ripped apart with a crowbar. I could try to destroy most of it using thermal detonators. That's still not the best way to take this out. A heavy trooper would be the most ideal. Feel like how Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron did this, where you could go and change your weapon easily. And there are like soldier classes in that game, so it's just like more like you could change your weapon or customize your weapon. But in this game, we don't really have that. We just have to choose our troop class. So I'm going to be the heavy trooper, of course, where I'm going to be blasting down those armored tank droids with my bazooka, my blue space bazooka. It's a blue space bazooka, not like the purple space bazookas they use on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. No, it's a blue bazooka. And look at that, it got its attention turned to me. Apparently I'm considered more important than an oil refinery. If that droid knew how important that oil refinery is, it would still keep blasting it. But it's not, because clearly I'm more important than an oil refinery, just a simple clone of the Republic. Maybe that's why Anakin went to rescue those clones at the beginning of Episode 3. He made it seem like, oh yeah, we have to be reminded that Anakin is a good guy. Like Mr. Plink, he was like, yeah, we have to be reminded that Anakin is still the hero, and he's not a bad guy yet. Well, maybe that's why Anakin wanted to rescue the clones, because maybe they really are more valuable than they make it appear to be. Especially if you watch that Clone Wars show, we're going to find that clones are real people with emotions, and they deal with all the same kinds of things that real people deal with. That doesn't change the fact they're about to commit mass genocide against the Jedi pretty soon. What might very well be one of the greatest genocides ever committed in the history of Star Wars. But that's coming up real soon. And so we still have to protect our oil refinery, our oil rig. I'm going to use another heavy trooper. Yeah, it's the oil rig that we're protecting. I think the oil rig, because you know how valuable and expensive oil could be. That's why a lot of countries in Africa are becoming quite rich. Countries like Sudan, I think it was, that found a lot of oil. So now they're one of the richest countries in the world, to a point they could give free infinite college to everyone that wants it. And so the armored tank droid finally turned its attention to us and blasted us down. Those Wookiees I don't even think are part of our garrison. They're kind of like how in Star Wars Battlefront 1 there was a main garrison, and there was a yellow faction thing that was kind of like, how do I describe it? It's kind of like a third party or third group. Like there was the Gungans for Naboo, there was the Sand People for Tatooine, and then there was those Royal Palace Guards and the Naboo City. So they were playing as Yoda, living La Vida Yoda. Yoda could run around, he could jump. He's actually a much better fighter in this game than he is in a lot of the other games, but he mostly just jumps around and flails his toy lightsaber around. Just so he can spin around and please kids, and make kids force their parents to give up their life savings, just so they could have Yoda in their house. Hey Mom, can we get a Yoda? Mom says, we already have Yoda at home, and Yoda at home is the baby Grinch from How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey movie. So of course the battle droids are going to be attached to shooting at Yoda, and we can just destroy them easy, because Yoda really was a fierce warrior in Star Wars Episode 3. So fierce, in fact, I don't even remember what he did exactly on Kashyyyk. All I remember that he did was just cut off the heads of a bunch of scout clone troopers that were going to kill him because, they were ordered to do so. And there's a Magna Guard. It's like one of Grievous's bodyguards turned into a soldier with rocket launchers, complete with full rocket launchers. They work like wonders when the AI uses it. But of course, if the human player tries using it, it's not going to work. At least one thing I do give this game credit for is that it doesn't awkwardly switch what side you're on during gameplay, kind of like what the first Star Wars Battlefront did, which made it really confusing as to who your enemies are and where your allies are, because it constantly flips them around a lot. First you were the droids, and then you went against the droids, then you're the Empire, then you're told to go against the Empire. And the first Battlefront was a little bit confusing in that sense, but this game, fixes that. Because this game is, by all means, pretty much a big, major improvement over the first Battlefront. It would just be a little bit easier if our computer allies could capture command posts. Because that one's almost been captured. If those Wookiees could, help me capture it, that would be good. But no, we're probably going to be killing off those Wookiees. I mean, we don't do it in this game, but the Empire probably is going to kill them off eventually as Wookiees. Or Space Ape, as it was described. What's that guy's name? Kevin Spacey, when he auditioned to play Chewbacca in 1975 for Star Wars. It took me years where I realized that was just a Saturday Night Live skit or something like that, some comedy show skit. And I actually thought it was real. That's just one of many times I got fooled by Saturday Night Live. I guess they got their just desserts because the show is really in deep decline right now. It's barely a comedy show at all. So we have the second last command post. It's pretty much up on our side now. We took another command post. If we get player points or that too, which could increase your rank. There actually is a ranking system in this game, and the only way to know if that increases is by how many enemies you kill. Once you get a certain amount of kills, your rank increases. First there's private, then there's sergeant, then there's probably captain and general. The general's the highest rank I ever got. I'm not sure there's a rank higher than general, but I've been playing this game for years. I'm very familiar with this game, or so I thought. Maybe the difficulty algorithm's made so it's really hard as hell at first, but then it gives you a lot of upgrades, which makes the game significantly easier. I don't know, that seems like it seems about accurate. And supposedly the command posts get stolen faster if you're with other teammates and you stand around them. I don't know if that's true or not. It doesn't seem to be true in this mode. But again, this is the main campaign mode. And who picks that word campaign anyway? Since some of our main stories called campaigns, I always thought it was confusing. What, a campaign? Is this like an election campaign? Are we running an election or something like that? But no, someone chose that word. I don't make this terminology. I just play by it.
With the timely arrival of Master Yoda, the 501st was able to hold the line against the Seps on Kashyyyk. We left as heroes. Years later, we'd return as conquerors.
Who's going to show us our stats? We got 56 kills and 13 deaths.
In our bones, we knew the war was almost over. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see which side would make the final, daring move. As fortune would have it, the Republic moved first. After the Chancellor informed the Jedi Council that General Grievous and the Sep leaders were hiding on Utapau, General Kenobi gathered an army large enough to capture 3 star systems. When the orders reached the 501st, our morale soared. For better or worse, this would be the beginning of the end.
An army large enough to capture 3 star systems? That must be a pretty goddamn big army. And oh look, we only have 15 troops. Apparently 15 people's enough to capture 3 star systems. Star systems must have really small populations in Star Wars if 15 troops is considered enough to capture 3 star systems. We're pretty much a poverty level army at this point. We're like an army that has, pretty much. I'm surprised they even give us real blasters considering how few troops they give us. They should just give us frickin' potato guns or something like that to take out the Separatists. Potato guns would be more effective than a lot of the weapons the other infantry gets in these games. And look at that, we only have 2 troops left. We get pretty much all, no, we only have 1 troop left. we pretty much have our whole garrison is, that's enough to capture 3 star systems. Those star systems must be pretty pathetic then. Wonder how like I said, wonder how large, but again, maybe populations aren't really that big. Considering the fact that Obi-Wan once said, I heard the voices of thousands calling out and were suddenly silenced, implying the population of Alderaan's like only 1,000 some odd people. Okay, there, we got a few more troops, but still, that's pretty pathetic. 16 troops, come on, you think they could give us more than that? We're the Republic. Like, we rule the galaxy, or supposedly rule the galaxy. I think they could afford more than just a few measly little troops to take out Utapau, especially when you think General Grievous is here. If General Grievous is really here, he's the only thing keeping this war going. Count Dooku is dead at this point. This game doesn't reflect on the death of Count Dooku at all. Maybe because there's another Star Wars game out there that already does reflect on that. I'm talking about the Star Wars Episode 3 video game. We already killed Count Dooku, and that's why they want to reflect on Count Dooku being killed. This game seems to emphasize more on General Grievous, because we're going to kill him pretty soon, too. Because we have enough clones to do that. These clones really are like the super troopers of Star Wars. I don't mean the super troopers from that movie about state troopers. I mean, they really are the super troopers. There's a small number of them. They're able to take out huge legions of battle droids. And these legions of battle droids are proven to kill tons of Jedi, as we saw them do in the Geonosis arena, where tons of Jedi got killed there. And only very few of them survived, Obi-Wan being one of those few survivors, and Anakin and Barasafi being the only 2 Padawans that survived that huge thing, and all the other Padawans that there got killed. But there's other Jedi didn't even show up that apparently were there, but we never saw them. Kind of like Evan Peel. He's supposedly dead at this point. Evan Peel supposedly died during the Clone Wars, but other books say different. So many Star Wars is one of the most contradictory franchises ever. I'm not just talking about what's shown in like expanded universe stuff. Like even in the movies themselves, there's contradictory stuff, where they make it seem like, oh, a lightsaber is the most powerful weapon ever, but yet everyone seems to have one in the prequels. 5 minutes can't go by without someone drawing out a lightsaber. So here's General Grievous. He's just standing around there. Apparently, can shoot rockets at us. A rocket launching General Grievous. Just swing my sword at him. Look at that, I took out a quarter of his health. If Obi-Wan is, a wuss just like all the other Jedi games, Jedi are really big wusses. Obi-Wan's a big wuss. He's gonna have to have his clones come in and bail him out for him. The only clone that can realistically do that is, of course, the Heavy Trooper. The Heavy Trooper can destroy General Grievous. Like, look at that, General Grievous just died. That's totally how General Grievous got killed. A Heavy Trooper just shot a bazooka or a bazooka blast into him, and it killed him completely. Imagine if they just invested in bazookas. Imagine how much easy conquering Star Wars would have been. Imagine if Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn had a bazooka and Phantom Menace, and they just used it on Darth Maul, and it just killed him easy. I mean, I did something like that in another Star Wars game. I remember doing that in Star Wars. What was that game called? Jedi Academy. There was some Sith boss, and I couldn't kill her by using going the lightsaber duel for, which I think is what you're intended to do. So I just blasted a bazooka, shot her, and she died instantly. Kind of like the kind of thing Indiana Jones would do, where he would just pull out his gun and destroy and kill the thing in just one hit. Just one measly little shot of a bazooka. We seem to have an abundance of bazookas, but yet we don't really seem to have as much troopers. And look at how many droids they have. Look at all these droids. They have so many. I mean, sure, no, they could mass produce them, but still, compared to what we have, it's actually a great surprise, actually, the Republic won. Maybe the Republic deserved to lose if you consider what became of the Republic after this battle. Maybe they just did deserve to lose, and maybe the droids should have won. Maybe the droids are really the heroes all along. Sounds like the greatest plot twist in any movie ever. I mean, I had one friend a long time ago think the Empire was thought the Empire was the real heroes of the Star Wars, and the Rebels were like the bad guys because they're rebels. I don't know, to some people it seems like that, especially in the game Empire at War, since a lot of people ally themselves with the Empire in that game. And we keep getting killed by super battle droids. The super battle droids actually are arguably the best main infantry soldier in this game. They could easily use their wrists to blast us down, and they open up their wrists only to kill us, not kill themselves, and they can blast us down easily. Look at that, we just got killed easy, because those bazookas actually, I know I talk about how they seem awesome, but really, they're not really a great weapon much at all. They're almost like it's almost worse than Galaxian. Galaxian has a faster charge time, but you can only have one shot in the screen at a time. And only this time around, it's just one shot, and then you have to wait like 2 hours for it to fully come to fully recharge. Okay, now we have a new objective. We have to destroy a pillar. A pillar getting destroyed. Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. That's because we know that after Grievous died, that wasn't really the end of the war, right? It was this pillar that was really controlling him all along. This pillar was the real main villain of the main enemy of the Republic was really just a big pillar all this time that was controlling the Separatist forces. So of course you have to go and blow down his pillar, right? Destroy his pillar. That's what we're paid to do, and that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to rid the galaxy of all the Separatist forces, and this is the most evil Separatist of them all. It was so evil we never even heard anything about him before. We've heard about Count Dooku and General Grievous and that other Sith guy that supposedly rules the CIS, but no, it's really this thing. This is the real main villain we have to go after, and I think it's just about destroyed. Yes, it's destroyed now. Endurance. Mission, it says it a lot when you complete a task. Endurance, yeah, like completing a task is a big endurance, especially because a lot of these clones are gimpy and weak, especially the stormtroopers. They're even worse than that, because the Empire doesn't really pay much in physical fitness.
With the death of General Grievous at the hands of General Kenobi, the Utapau raid had broken the back of the Separatists. Under normal circumstances, it would have been a time for celebration. But our next orders put paid to those thoughts.
Next orders, I wonder what those are going to be. Probably going to find out in the next part. This is Ray Phoenix, signing out.